Welcome everyone, my name is Magdalena and you're watching From Words to Worlds. This channel is for those who learn English, but also for people who learn other foreign languages, but are looking for methods how to learn faster, easier, more effectively, or how to get the most of the language course they have already paid for at some language school, for example. So some videos we will devote to English and some videos we will devote to techniques useful for everybody who learns different foreign languages. In this video we will concentrate on English and we'll talk about word order in an English sentence. What's the correct order of words in an English sentence? And also why are sometimes apples very angry? So we'll talk about angry apples and word order in English. We'll begin with a simple story that happened to my friend. She is Polish. Her name is Mary, and she works in a company with two foreigners. So one day, me and Mary were drinking coffee in a cafe. And suddenly she said, Magda, you will never believe what's happened. So I got curious. So I asked, okay, tell me please, what's happened? Well, as you know, there are two men who speak only English at my office. So sometimes I start a conversation to practice my English. And yesterday they asked me about fruit. Okay, Mary, what about fruit exactly? What did they ask you? And she said, well, they asked me what fruit I buy every day. So I told them I buy oranges and apples because I like oranges and my children eat apples. And then they started to laugh and I didn't know why. And I felt so ashamed. You will not believe how ashamed I felt because I said something in English and they laughed and I didn't know why. So I said, okay, just calm down, relax. Tell me again what exactly you said in English. And Mary said, well, I eat oranges, but my children don't like oranges, so they like apples. I said, Mary, what exactly did you say in English? Well, I said, I eat oranges. Well, and apples eat my children. And then two foreigners started to laugh. Maybe you already know what mistake Mary made in this sentence. English language is very, very strict when it comes to word order in a sentence. If you talk to somebody about fruit, about you and your children and apples and oranges, and you say a simple sentence, children eat apples, everything is fine there. The sentence is clearly understandable for everyone. But if you are a bit like Mary, especially if you come from one of the countries that allow more freedom in how the words are put in order in a sentence, for example, Polish language allows such freedom, you may say, just like Mary did, that, well, I eat oranges and apples eat children. And you probably guessed already that this sentence can be presented only in this way, that it's apples who get very angry and apples eat children. Well, if we are fans of horrors and this is what we want to say, there's no problem. But usually this is not what we mean. So the question is why? Why is the sentence apple eat children presented in this horrific way? In English language, word order, so how to put word one by one, is very important. And the first noun in a sentence will probably be interpreted as the subject of a sentence. So we have subject, who, so to speak, apples. They do what? They eat. They eat whom? They eat naughty children. Maybe they eat nice children. But of course, that's not what we want to say. That's not the result we want to achieve. So this video is mostly for beginners, but even if you already speak English pretty well, but sometimes you simply get lost in your sentence, it becomes to float by itself, and you can feel that you continue speaking, but somehow these words don't come out in the order you would like to. And this English starts to sound a bit like your mother tongue. Maybe it's because that you try to put subject at the end of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence. Try to put your subject first. Try to begin with who and then follow with what is this person doing, and you will probably notice that your English flows more naturally. So here are other examples of this type of mistake typical for Polish students and probably other students from countries where you can place subject in different places of a sentence and the sentence is perfectly correct, but it's not correct in English. For example, in Chicago works my sister. This type of sentence you can sometimes hear, for example, in TV shows, but it's not correct. This book wrote Stephen King. It's a very typical mistake for Polish learners, but this sentence means that a book takes a pen, a book puts on glasses, and a book writes, oh, Stephen King. So it's not what we want to say. Maybe if we write fantasy, but yeah. Shining was the sun. This is a sentence that follows very directly the word order in Polish sentence and is not correct. And oh, with Adam, I go to Paris. This type of sentences you can also hear sometimes when you want to really stress, you want to underline that it's with Adam I go to Paris. But it's also not correct sentence in English. So I would like to invite you now to a simple exercise. Why don't you pause the video, take a moment, and rewrite these sentences in the correct form. It will take you 1 minute and it will count as a perfect English exercise for today. So I imagine that you paused the video and wrote the sentences in the correct order. If you didn't, you still have a chance. You can just press pause and do a simple English exercise. And now for the answers. Well, of course, we will say, my sister works in Chicago. Stephen King wrote this book. The sun was shining, and I go with Adam to Paris. We can also say, I go to Paris with Adam. It's also perfectly correct. As you can see, we always begin with who. Who is doing the action? It is Stephen King who wrote the book. It is my sister who works in Chicago. So when you learn English, try to remember to always start with who. Who is doing the action? And then follow with what the action is. Like who, Stephen King, wrote the book. Who, children, eat apples. Okay? Then you will avoid the situation when somebody will understand that it's apples who eat children. Of course, the more you learn English, the more you will see that the constructions can be more complicated and the subject is not always at the beginning. But for now, try to start with that. Put the subject first. And if you are an advanced learner who has been learning English for a while, but you still have this problem that you get lost sometimes in your head and your mind starts thinking in your mother tongue, check if this simple technique can help you. Rephrase the sentence and put the subject first, and then watch the results. And below this video, you can find a link to a PDF file with simple exercises on this topic. 2 are easy, 1 is a bit more challenging. So I invite you to download them and have fun with English. My name is Magdalena. Thank you for today. You were watching From Words to Worlds. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment. I will try to answer the best I can. If you have any other ideas, what gives you trouble in English, also feel free to leave it in the comment. It will give me ideas for the next video. Have a good day and see you soon.